Before we begin, a quick disclaimer. This video is for educational and awareness purposes only. The story you're about to hear is intended to highlight the risks of digital identity and does not endorse any illegal activities. Please always act responsibly and legally online. What happens when the greatest threat to your digital identity is you? We often think of hackers as shadowy figures lurking in the dark corners of the internet, targeting unsuspecting victims. But what if the hacker and the victim were the same person? Welcome to the strange and unsettling story of the hacker who hacked themselves. This isn't just a tale of technical exploits. It's a journey into the fractured reality of digital identity. We follow a brilliant but troubled programmer, let's call him Alex. By day, Alex was a respectable cybersecurity consultant. He had a solid career, a loving family, and a pristine online presence. His social media was a carefully curated gallery of professional achievements and happy family photos. He was the person everyone thought they knew. But by night, Alex became Zero. Zero was everything Alex wasn't. Anonymous, reckless, and unbound by rules. Zero existed in the deep web, a ghost in the machine who traded in secrets and moved through networks like a phantom. It started as an experiment. Alex wanted to test the limits of digital anonymity. He created Zero as a separate entity with unique email addresses, encrypted communication channels, and a complex backstory. He used VPNs, proxies, and virtual machines to build a digital fortress around this second self. For a while, it was a game. Alex, the consultant, would build security systems, and Zero, the hacker, would try to break them. It was the ultimate intellectual challenge, a battle against his own creation. The two personas lived in separate worlds. Alex would go to work, advise clients on protecting their data, and then go home to his family. Later, in the dead of night, he would log in as Zero. Under this alias, he navigated underground forums, participated in hacking challenges, and even engaged in low-level cybercrime not for profit, but for the thrill, for the intellectual sport of it. He was meticulous. Alex's digital life and Zero's were completely firewalled from each other, or so he thought. The first crack appeared when Zero decided to test Alex's own personal security. It was the ultimate test of his skills. Using classic phishing techniques, Zero sent a cleverly crafted email to Alex's personal account. The email looked like a security alert from a trusted service. Alex, despite his expertise, was tired and distracted that day. He clicked the link. In that single moment, Zero gained access to Alex's entire digital life. His emails, his cloud storage, his contacts. The firewall had been breached, not by an external attacker, but from within. This is where the story turns from a technical experiment into a psychological thriller. Alex knew he had been compromised, but he couldn't report it. How could he explain that he had hacked himself? The paranoia began to set in. He started seeing threats everywhere, imagining that other hackers had discovered his dual identity. He became obsessed with strengthening Alex's security, while simultaneously, as Zero, he became more aggressive, trying to find new vulnerabilities. He was fighting a war on two fronts against himself. The line between the two personas started to blur. At work, Alex would find himself thinking like Zero, spotting exploits in his client's systems that he knew his darker half could easily penetrate. At home, he became distant, consumed by the constant digital battle raging in his head. His family noticed the change. He was irritable, sleep-deprived, and constantly glued to his screens. He was living two lives, and the strain was becoming unbearable. Experts in cybersecurity and psychology can help us understand this phenomenon. Creating multiple online selves is surprisingly common. We all present slightly different versions of ourselves on different platforms. Our professional LinkedIn profile is different from our personal Instagram. But for Alex, this wasn't just about social curation. It was a deliberate splintering of his identity. As one psychologist explains, the anonymity of the internet can act as a disinhibition effect. allowing people to express parts of their personality they would normally suppress. For Alex, Zero was the manifestation of his repressed impulses, his desire for freedom, risk, and a rejection of the rules that governed his everyday life. The situation escalated dramatically. To further cover his tracks and create confusion, Alex as Zero staged a fake breach of his own employer's network. He planted false evidence pointing to an external hacking group. Then, as Alex the consultant, he discovered the breach and led the investigation to contain it. He became a hero at work, praised for his quick thinking and expertise, all while knowing he was the architect of the entire crisis. He was both the arsonist and the firefighter. The thrill was intoxicating, but the guilt was corrosive. He even took it a step further. As Zero, he stole a small, encrypted dataset from one of his own old projects. Then, using a different anonymous identity on a dark web marketplace, he listed the data for sale. And who was the buyer? Alex, using company funds allocated for cybersecurity threat intelligence, bought his own stolen data back. He was laundering his actions through a complex web of digital deception, creating a cycle of crime and resolution where he was the sole participant. He was the perpetrator, the victim, and the investigator all at once. The psychological toll was immense. Alex began to lose his grip on reality. Was he Alex pretending to be Zero, or was he Zero pretending to be Alex? His memory started to fail him. He'd forget conversations he had as Alex because his mind was consumed by Zero's latest exploits. He suffered from severe anxiety, convinced that at any moment, his two worlds would collide and expose him. The digital ghost he had created was no longer a puppet. It had taken on a life of its own, and it was haunting him. He was trapped. He couldn't kill Zero without risking exposure, as the trail of digital breadcrumbs was too complex to erase completely. But he couldn't continue living as both Alex and Zero without completely losing his mind. The man who could break into any system in the world was locked inside a prison of his own making, with no escape. The climax of this story isn't a dramatic FBI raid or a courtroom showdown. It's quieter, more personal, and far more chilling. One night, after a close call where his wife nearly discovered his hidden server rack, Alex made a decision. He couldn't destroy Zero, but maybe he could contain him. He sat down and, as Alex, began a dialogue with Zero through an encrypted chat client. He wasn't just typing to himself. He was negotiating with the other half of his fractured identity. He documented every action Zero had ever taken, creating a detailed confession. He then encrypted this confession with a key so complex that even he would struggle to break it. He then performed one final act. He dismantled Zero's entire digital infrastructure, wiping the servers, deleting the accounts, and erasing the virtual machines. But he left one thing behind, a single dormant file on a secure server. It was the encrypted confession, a digital time bomb. It was his insurance policy and his final prison. If he ever felt the urge to become Zero again, he would have to face the risk of that confession being unlocked. He had, in effect, put his own digital ghost in chains. Alex's story is an extreme case, but it holds a powerful lesson for all of us in this digital age. Our online identities are more fragmented than we realize. We are scattered across countless screens, our data spread across servers we'll never see. This story asks a fundamental question. Are we truly oneself online, or are we a collection of reflections? And what happens when those reflections start to conflict with one another? Alex's journey shows us that the person most capable of destroying our digital life might just be looking back at us from the mirror. It's a sobering reminder to protect not just our data, but our sense of a unified self in a world that constantly encourages us to fracture it. Thank you so much for watching. This story is a powerful reminder of the complexities of our digital lives. If you found this documentary compelling, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden side of technology. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Stay safe and stay aware.